Joyce, and I'm a first year PhD student from George's lab. So today I will talk about a little bit about myself, own experience from a master student to a PhD student. So I will start a little bit about myself, my background. So I did my bachelor in China and London a long time ago, and then I moved to Glasgow, did my master here in clinical pharmacology, and then I stay in this unit and start my PhD 3.5 years ago in cardiovascular science, and now I'm at my final stage of my PhD. So I'm finishing up all the lab work, hopefully before Christmas, and then I will start right up, and then I will have my viva soon, hopefully in the next year at some point. So I want to also talk about a little bit about how is the difference between a third degree master's and a PhD life. So first of all, it's different from the time, the length of the programs. So the master normally is a 1 year program, and then most of the time you are just taking lectures and doing tutorials and assignment, and in the end you may have a 3 month length of a project, and then you can choose to stay in a wet lab to do some actual practical work, or you can do a literature review. But for PhD, it's about 3 to 4 years, and then most of us will doing just one main project, and then some of you may have some side project, but most of the time you spend on your main project. And then for me, I'm working on something called simulation of the beta 2 adrenergic receptor influence on cell signaling. It sounds complicated for the first time when I heard of this project, but after two or 3 years, you'll become the expert of your own project. So no one will know more than you about your project. So for this project, you will get an annual report to submit every year to tell your reviewers what you have done in this year, what progress you made on your project, and then mostly you need to do a presentation in front of the institute, and then present your data, any progress or any troubleshooting in front of your peer colleagues, and then seek for advice. Also, it's a good opportunity to practice how you exchange your data with other people in the same field. And then in the end, after 3 years of lab work, we are supposed to write up all the work you have done in the past 3 years, and then you submit a big piece of your work. That's our thesis. And then in the end, you need to go through maybe a 3 to 4 hours viva to answer all the questions have been involved in your thesis. So that's how you can get your PhD degree. And then at the same time, you can also get multiple training. So if you're a wet lab based project, so that the first of all you will get trained for different experimental technique, and then after that, you once you get some data, you will be participate in conference doing either poster presentation or give a talk to show other people's data, and then discuss with all the other peoples in your own field. And then also in the end, if you are lucky enough, you get a huge set of data, you might be have a chance to participate in publication of your research papers, and then that means that you get trained of your academic write-up. And at the same time, normally before the COVID, each lab will take summer school student, master project student, so you get the chance to train up other students to become the technique as good as you did. So the ultimate goal for this program is trying to train us to become an independent researcher. So after these 4 years, the supervisors and the units are looking forward to have an independent researcher. We can plan our own experiment and then come up with ideas to proceed the project. So that's the main difference between master's and PhD. So if you want to do a PhD, so the first of all, you need to start to look for one. As they mentioned before, so you can do either inside our unit, so you can obviously visit our official website, and then also we have other resources outside the unit. Like if you are in UK, you can go for the findaphd.com to look for different kind of PhD opportunities. mm, I'm keen to stay in this unit, so I just only go through our own website and trying to find something interesting me, and that's how I find George and then become one of his students. So for to application, you need mainly two things. The first of all is the personal statement. So in this document, you mainly shows what is your research interest, like what you want to do to in your PhD project. It doesn't need to be very specific, but you need to have an interest. And then the other thing is you need to have a detailed CV, so shows how your educational level, and then mainly about your bachelor GPA, and then research experience. So there will be a good opportunities for the potential supervisors to know more about you before you start it. And then if you're lucky enough, you got a PhD offer. But the thing is, you are unless you are rich enough to self-fund it, otherwise you need to find a scholarship to support you for your bench fee and your tuition fee and your life expense. So if you are staying in the unit, I think we have a website in a web page in our university website called scholarship and fundings. So basically that's a website that you can just type what kind of situation you are, like are you an international student and what level study you are looking for, and they will come up with all the opportunities you can have to apply for a scholarship for yourself. And then they should have the details and the right direction you can go, and then what is the deadline and what kind of materials you need to submit for this scholarship. For myself, I'm funded by the China Scholarship Council, so they have all the details on the website. Um, and then it normally, so the main thing for this scholarship is you need to have an offer to apply for that, and it normally starts from March and take a whole month. They have a window for whole months to submit your application, and then they will announce the results at the end of May. So if you are going to apply for next year, so it's better you start to look for a supervisor, a program now. And then next, I want to give you some tips to survive from a PhD life. So first of all is trying to meet up with your supervisors regularly, weekly or daily. Now maybe not face to face, but trying to have a Zoom call with them, especially when you just start your PhD, because sometimes you might struggling to uh, describe your data and then you want some helps from a supervisor, they will be always the best option to go look for help. And then the second one is never to be afraid of asking help. So it's okay then if you ask someone like stupid questions. There's not always no stupid question to ask. It's always better to ask questions before you make something a mistake that will cost more time and more money to fix it. And also another thing is very important is to make your plan beforehand and wisely, especially if you are doing a lab-based project. So there are few things that you need to make plan. First of all, your daily experimental plan. So your supervisor is not going to tell you what you are going to do every day. They will just tell you, okay, we will need to get this and that done before a deadline. So you need to organize, plan what you are going to do by yourself, and then you want to make a really good plan. Otherwise, you'll be struggling all the time. And then also for all the PhD students, we need to have a 20 credit through our 3 years. So you need to take some courses to gain these credits. And then we have all the information in the handbook. And then you want to plan how you are going to take all these courses along these 3 years. And then the last is you want to have ahead of the plan of your further career, research career plan. What are you going to do after your PhD? Do you want to be still in academic as a postdoc, or do you want to become a lecturer, or you want to go to industrial? So it's always good to you have a further plan beforehand, so you can do some research and then get prepared to be that. And the last but not the least is trying to be patient, because it's a 3 to 4 years program. You are not going to get everything worked in the first place. You might be struggling for the first few months, even the first half year, but you will eventually reach that. The You'll get enough data for you to write up a thesis. And I want to share some of my experience as a PhD students in the end. So what is most important is work-life balance, and then trying to find a way to live with failures, because as I just said that you will have experiment not working most of the time. Maybe 90% of the time is nothing working, but you're trying to learn something out of that not working experiment and then make it better next time. And then trying to find something to keep you spirit up and trying to relax and then release your pressure from not working experiments. For me, I like to traveling around. Of course, that's before the COVID, and then now you can maybe do some cooking and baking at home to release some stress if you find it is too harsh on yourself. And then thank you for your attention, and I want to take the opportunity to thank my supervisors, George Bailey and Dr. Delis Graham, to give the opportunity for being your students. Thank you.